Hello, welcome to today's video. It is the 16th of October. I'm Chris here with Tel Cafe. Let's take a look at the markets. Another day of distribution in here, quite heavy. We managed to rally in the morning and then, sell off midday and towards the end of the day in here. So things are starting to look a little bit heavier if you look across the markets. We can see how the crypto market has reacted today. Also, Bitcoin is starting to lose some levels. We'll take a look at that in a second. But I have played quite a bit of defense today based on today's action. I had a short in MSTR and I've closed some of the long positions that I was, a bit excited about yesterday. I had to kind of reduce some of my positions just to raise some cash. At the market, it's very, very whippy. It is the volatility, as it moves to 23, 24 on the VIX. We're getting wider ranges. It's getting a bit harder unless you're a very nimble day trader and you can be very quick. Things can get kind of dangerous and you can get whipped around. So the market psychology has changed a little bit in here. What's interesting is the fact that people were fairly bullish going into next week. So for the last 3 weeks, I must say, we've had a decrease in the bears, a small decrease in the bears and an increase in the bulls, which kind of culminated last week with the, largest spike we've had, in a couple of months, I guess. I guess if we go back here, I don't know what date it is, but there's been probably more than a couple of months since we've had that spike up there. And sure enough, this week, and especially after the sell-off that we've gotten on Friday, you can see that we've moved back into, some heavy bearish positioning once again, or at least sentiment. You can see the, CNN index, fear ingredients. I think that's on the fear now. So it's very interesting that again, it's not a lot of bullishness at the top. The bearishness continues to be sort of pronounced. It's interesting. My thing here is that we're starting to get an accumulation, a cluster of distribution days in here towards the highs, which is always the first signal that the market might be ready to go in a period of a pause or even into a correction. So it's kind of a day by day thing, but clearly the damage that this day did has not been brushed off to the side. I thought that maybe they have enough power to kind of follow the WM higher, but even that index turned back. And although there are still stocks that are not reacting weak at all, and they're actually looking fairly strong or maintaining their levels, the indices are still sending this kind of just a heavy type of a tape where you're not really sure. You almost you're kind of looking at the screen, you're looking at the stocks, and all of a sudden you're up a few percentage, and then all of a sudden they're back down, and it's like, what's going on? So it's time to be just cautious. I think, I've said yesterday, I talked about the the fourth wave idea, and that could be you can go just up and down in these waves, and nobody's really winning. And then eventually we can make a new high. If we're losing the low of Friday's bar, I think we're going to attack that 50-day moving average. If we do attack it, and we start to kind of get below it, and if we close below it, then things are going to start to look very interesting to the short side. So I'm building a list of stocks that I want to go to in case the market goes weak. One of my favorites is MSTR because it's been acting weak throughout this market that's been making new highs in here, and MSTR has just been not looking great. I don't know if that's connected to kind of the whole crypto weakness that's happening right now, or it's something else happening, but there's a few other ones that I have my eyes on that I want to go to and try to either straight up short or provide them as hedges. So let's say that I still have long positions that I like, that I don't want to get out of, or I still have gains in them and I don't want to sell them out. I want to balance those out with some short positions, that can minimize those losses and maybe even go neutral. So that's kind of what I'm working on. And every day I've been scanning here for the past week, and kind of what looks weak, and what do I say by what looks weak? Where do we close open high and we close low? Which stocks live below their 20, their 50, and their 20-day moving average? Stocks that have a little bit more volume. They've been so I'm not looking to short tops or things that have been flying because they just show strength. I want to short weakness. So for those, I go to, stocks that are already weak and I want them to get weaker. So that's kind of what I'm going. It's kind of the same principle that I use on the long side. I want to buy strength and then I want to sell weakness. So we'll see. But that list has been growing, and I'm trying to kind of filter through it and see what has, because a lot of these stocks don't have a lot of volatility. So even if you anyway, I don't want to get into this, a whole discussion about the perfect type of hedging and kind of how to go. But, if you're going to have a stock that, you're long on and it's, it's got an ATR of 5 or it's 6%, it's a one that it's a bit of a high flyer. And then, on the short side, you have a beta, that's 80 or under 1, then it's not going to make a whole lot of difference, or you got to put bigger positions on. So, there's a little trick there, but it's just a matter of kind of finding the right instruments, to make sure that you stay balanced. Again, SPY, it just kind of, let me get, exit my drawing, but SPY in here, you can see, right, the 20 and the 50 day are kind of getting tighter in. So, that's, again, it's a bit of a tell that the market goes into a sideways move in here. And that we have lost the strength of the uptrend. IWM, that's been looking good and going back and making a new high, and now we kind of reverse that. We'll see if we're going to start getting below that 20-day. That's going to be a clue that, maybe this was a fake move or a final move in some kind of a small fifth wave. I can't really tell. And then if we go and, we start talking Bitcoin, I mean, it's been, and I talked yesterday about the weakness in here that I'm kind of starting to kind of feel it. I'm watching the closes in Bitcoin. I see that it's not able to get back above the 50, above the 20. It is holding the support at 110. Now we lost that. We're holding the 20-day moving average. If we lose that, more floodgates are going to open. People are going to ask me, well, what do you think the count is? And I've explained yesterday in the video that if it's a flat formation and it is an A, B, and we're looking for, it could be a 1, 2, 3. Maybe this was a 4 and a quick 5, and you could be done. Or this could be wave 2 of a 5 and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But if that happens, I think that's going to be, in my view, a bit too long of a setback. So, for right now, I'm not going to guess what the count is. I don't have to know what the count is to know that I don't want to be involved in Bitcoin right here, and I know that it's weak. So I'm not or I'm not anymore as active as I would be in the business of trying to project prices, but rather in the business of trying to stay out of trouble when something it's not acting like it's supposed to be acting. So whatever the count would end up being, it will end up being, and we'll work with it. There are several interpretations in here, but it's just not acting. It's just not acting strong. It could turn at any moment, and when it does, we'll notice, and we'll go the other way. I don't think I want to go short into a 20-day moving average. I don't. You are still above the 20-day. So yes, being below the 50, it favors the short side, but you're still on a rising 20-day moving average. And most of all, I'm not a big fan of shorting Bitcoin because it could have big bounces, and I'm not. I'd rather be buying it. It's still, I think, if you look at the weekly time frames, right, we're still in a pretty decent uptrend, and I really don't want to fight this kind of the way this looks. These two candles in here, again, they look like a failed move to the upside, and it could signal for the weakness, but we'll see. The other ones, again, they're also fairly weak. I mean, XRP, too, I guess, this one, you're living below all these moving averages. So if would be a candidate for further weakness, it would be XRP. I did say in previous instances that I don't want to be involved unless you're above these levels. And I'm those reasons continue to stay, and my view is that until those levels get taken out, I'm not interested, and this keeps me out of trouble. Same for Ethereum in here, that's been bouncing back, but look, you have a 20 that's curling over, you got a 50 that's starting to curl over, and any momentum machines or what have you, they'll continue to pummel this on any rallies. And right now we're kind of stuck between the 50 and the 200, and that's a very tough place to trade. Believe me, you want to be long and you want to be trading when you're above these levels, because then you have the wind at your back and the market moves. In here, it's a big chop fest, and I don't want to be any part of it. Now, what does good? It's gold. I mean, just an amazing trend, and I know people were getting super excited. I don't even know when. I think it was last week that we have a top in gold, and it's time to kind of short it based on the scandal. And I said, I don't think so. Look at my Twitter. I said, I think we're going to make a new all-time high in gold before you even know it, and it's going to be fairly quick, and it has not topped. Why? Because one candle doesn't change the trend. The RSI is very powerful. There is no heavy divergences. The moving averages are pointing straight up. Gold doesn't top like that. It's going to take longer to do so. And we could be at the top in here. Nobody knows. I mean, look, you already kind of had a candle that's breaking above this trend line. Usually when this type of stuff happens, just so you know, there is a chance that you could move sideways. But I would definitely not fight this. I mean, I'm watching the volume yesterday or last week was pretty high, one of the strongest. We'll see how we're going to end up being this week. But it's, I put a count, I think, on Twitter. Actually, let's go here. I might have it. Oh, I think it's right here. Yep. So, I mean, look, this 61.8 is basically this wave one from the low of this wave two, right? That projection, and we've crossed that. The next one would be obviously the 261.8, but that's a lot higher. It's about 7,500. I'm not saying we're going there straight up. Some of the subdivisions, I think we can work with in a 1-2-1-2. Then you have your 1-2 in here, and now you have this kind of massive wave developing. But this needs a 4 and a 5, a 4 and a 5. So we're not just going to top. You could have, unless I'm fully wrong, and this is some kind of a fifth wave, which are notorious in silver sometimes. I mean, in gold and in metals. If it's a fifth wave, those have a tendency to kind of, get back sooner, or faster. But I mean, look in here. Look at kind of the type of action that you would kind of have to have some kind of a top on a weekly time frame. I mean, look at this bearish engulfing, and they had several of attempts to sell it off in the previous rally, but you got to get something really significant, and to kind of at least give you some kind of a caution and say, well, I think sellers are stepping in, or they're taking profits now, and after that, I mean, for several weeks it just went sideways. So I'm not saying it's going to happen exactly like that, but that's the type of signs I'm watching. So gold still looks good. Silver looks even better, trading at 54 right now, above those highs from 2011. Those were at about 50, and again, this it's a large move. I mean, if that's a 1 and 2, and I'm going to put a wave count on this. I think I've had it in a different platform. 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5 4 and 5. So we're just kind of getting started in silver. Yes, it's powerful, but I mean, I know this was a little bit of an outlier, although you can see the again, even here, right, the kind of the drop, and then kind of the cup and handle type of a look with the break and then a continuation. I mean, probably equality with this move, even higher than that. So if we just go by that, right, I mean, if I don't even know what to measure, because if I go with this one here, it's going to be that's big targets. So anyhow, we'll take it day by day in here, and see how it reacts. But for right now, it's a big heavy uptrend, and RSI looks beautiful. It's just kind of trending, so nothing to do. All right, enough about silver and gold. Yeah, I mean, what's the dollar doing? Wow, selling off. That's weird. I haven't looked at the dollar in a few days, and this I was expecting actually dollar to be stronger based on kind of what I'm seeing in the equity markets. The dollar selling off, it might be a bit of a help. So we'll keep an eye on it. I mean, maybe just the equities are just kind of going to go sideways in here, but definitely, definitely something to watch. Pretty big volume today too, so that's that tells you to be patient and to be a bit cautious. So what I would do is I would tighten up the stops, reduce trading activity, raise cash, and just be careful overall. That's the best advice I have, and kind of that's what I'm doing at the moment with my positions. I'm just trying not to get hurt. Is it time to make money somehow? Possibly on some decent shorts, maybe even some longs that are, kind of flying on their own. But if the equities sell off, stocks are just not. Very few stocks are going to be able. They're either going to hold, but they're not going to move higher. They're going to come under pressure, and who they're going to take down. They're probably the high flyers and the ones that people have profits in, and those are going to be the ones that are going to be taken out. So, good luck. Happy fishing. I'll talk to you. Today's Thursday. I'll talk to you next week. Maybe I'll have a video on Friday. I'm not sure. But if you want to, talk more with me, I'm available on Discord, and I'm also on Twitter. So any charts, questions, concerns, suggestions, I'm available. Bye.